Part 1. The Curse of Being Too Nice. Have you ever felt invisible? You're the rock, the reliable anchor in everyone else's storm. You're the one who always answers the call, the one who drops everything to help, the emotional first responder for your friends and family. You pride yourself on being dependable, on being kind, on being nice. But then, in a quiet moment, a different feeling creeps in. You look around and realize you're respected, but not truly valued. You're liked, but not truly desired. You're appreciated, but only when you're needed. You're not a person. You're a utility. You're just there. If this feeling has ever cast a shadow over your heart, then you need to understand it is not your fault. You are not broken. You are experiencing a symptom of an insidious psychological trap, so common it could be called a curse. The curse of being too nice. It's a strange paradox, isn't it? You give and you give from a place of genuine care, but the more you offer, the less it seems to be worth. Your unconditional availability has counterintuitively made you seem less valuable. Imagine a little coffee stand on a street corner. The coffee is always hot, it's always ready, and it's always free. People grab a cup, maybe they nod, and they go on with their day. They expect it to be there. They don't treasure it. Now imagine a different place, a premium cafe down the street. You have to wait in line. You choose your beans carefully. You pay a premium. The experience itself makes the coffee in your hand feel like a treasure, something to be savored. The coffee itself might be similar, but the coffee itself may be similar, but the value is worlds apart. You, in your constant, unconditional availability, have accidentally become the free coffee stand. If any of this, even a small part of it, is resonating deep within you, then you are in exactly the right place. On this channel, we don't just talk about psychology, we uncover the timeless principles that allow you to reclaim your inner strength and transform how the world sees you, and more importantly, how you see yourself. The insights in this video alone are designed to fundamentally shift your personal dynamics. So, if you're ready to stop being a utility and start being a treasure, do yourself a favor right now and hit that subscribe button. What if I told you that the single kindest, most loving thing you can do, not just for yourself, but for every single relationship you have, is to become a little less available? What if the path to being truly deeply valued is to risk being liked a little less? It sounds like a complete paradox, a contradiction in terms, but I'll explain exactly why this is a fundamental truth of human nature in just a moment. The reason this works isn't because you're playing a cruel game. It's because you are finally honoring a reality that you have been ignoring. Your time, your energy, your attention, your care, these are not infinite commodities. They are precious, finite resources. They are a direct extension of your inherent worth. When you give them away indiscriminately, you devalue them. By pulling back, you're not being unkind. You are simply teaching people the true high value of the gifts you offer. You are replacing an infinite, devalued supply with a precious, cherished resource. And human beings are psychologically wired to cherish, protect, and value what is scarce. But this isn't just a clever social trick or a simple life hack. This is a law of the human psyche, as fundamental as gravity. In fact, one of history's greatest explorers of the human soul, Carl Jung, identified a hidden source of power within every one of us that, once activated, makes this process of pulling back feel not just strategic, but completely natural and necessary. It's the key to moving from a state of being nice to a state of being whole. But before we unlock that profound power inside you, we must first understand the simple, almost brutal rule that dictates value in every area of life, from multi-million-dollar art to exclusive clubs to human attraction itself. What is this one inescapable rule? And how can you start using it to your advantage, not tomorrow, but in the next 5 minutes? Part 2, the scarcity principle, why pulling back works. So, what is the one inescapable rule of value that governs our world? The answer is simple, powerful, and a little bit brutal. It's called the scarcity principle. Simply put, we as human beings are psychologically hardwired to place a higher value on things that are rare, limited, or difficult to obtain. And we instinctively place a lower value on things that are abundant, easy, and always available. This isn't a flaw in our character, it's a fundamental operating system of the human mind, a mental shortcut we use to navigate the world. You see this principle at play everywhere. Why do people camp out overnight for a pair of limited edition sneakers? Are they really that much better than the shoes you can buy any day of the week? No, they are desirable because they are scarce. Why does a private exclusive club hold so much more allure than a public park that's open to everyone? The barrier to entry, the scarcity of access, creates the desire. We instinctively believe if it's hard to get, it must be worth getting. Now let's apply this directly to the most important area of your life, your relationships and your own sense of self. When your time, your energy, your validation, and your presence are unconditionally available to everyone, you inadvertently trigger this principle in reverse. You become the item that's always in stock, the resource that never runs out. And just like that abundant, easy-to-get product, your perceived value begins to drop. Not because your inherent worth has changed, it hasn't, but because you've made the invaluable seem common. Pulling back is the act of correcting this imbalance. It's the conscious decision to reintroduce healthy scarcity. It's a declaration that your time is not an infinite public utility, but a precious personal treasure. Okay, so the logic is clear. Scarcity creates value. This is where many people get it wrong. They hear this and think, great, I'll just start playing hard to get. But we've all seen that, haven't we? We've all seen someone try to manufacture distance, and it just comes off as a cheap, transparent game. It feels like manipulation. So here is the critical question we must answer. Why do some people try to create scarcity and it backfires, making them seem childish and insecure, while for others, their natural distance creates an almost magnetic pull of respect, desire, and profound admiration? They are both creating scarcity, so what is the fundamental difference? The secret, the entire key to this dynamic, lies in the source of the scarcity, and you'll find out now. The difference is one powerful word: authenticity. Manipulative scarcity is an external tactic. It's a game you play. It's when you deliberately wait 3 hours to text someone back while staring at your phone. It's pretending to be busy when you're actually just sitting at home, hoping they'll notice your absence. The synonym for this is insecurity. It's a performance, and people have a finely tuned radar for inauthenticity. They can feel it, and it repels them. Authentic scarcity, on the other hand, is not a tactic you use. It's a byproduct of a life you lead. It comes from a genuine internal source. It comes from having a life that is so full, so rich with purpose, with passion, with priorities that are deeply meaningful to you, that your time and attention are naturally a scarce resource. You aren't pretending to be busy. You are busy building your life, investing in your growth, pursuing your calling. You are building your own inner kingdom. The scarcity isn't a performance for others, it's a requirement for your own mission. And this deep, authentic, purpose-driven life is precisely where the work of Carl Jung becomes so incredibly powerful for us. He believed that to build this inner kingdom, you couldn't just focus on being a good, nice, and acceptable person to the world. He taught that true wholeness and strength come from the courage to confront and integrate a hidden, powerful, and to many, a dangerous part of your personality. A part he called the shadow. What is this mysterious shadow? And how is it the secret key to unlocking the kind of authentic, magnetic presence we've just been talking about? Part 3. Unleashing Your Shadow, the hidden power Jung said you have. So, what is this mysterious and powerful shadow that Carl Jung believed holds the key to our authentic strength? Let's demystify it right now. The shadow is not some evil force lurking within you. It is far simpler and far more important than that. The shadow is everything we have disowned, denied, and repressed about ourselves to be seen as nice, good, and acceptable by the world around us. It's that flash of righteous anger at injustice, both to you and to others, that you were told was unseemly or unloving, so you swallowed it. It's a wish to dream, but you were told to be realistic. Your fundamental God-given ability to draw a line in the sand and say a firm, unwavering, guilt-free no. Out of a fear of conflict, a fear of rejection, a fear of not being liked, they have removed crucial parts of their own soul. Through fear of conflict, rejection, and disapproval, they have had vital parts of their own soul taken away from them. They've disowned their right to prioritize their own well-being and their own calling. They've disowned the healthy, necessary assertiveness that protects their inner peace. From this perspective, the act of pulling back is no longer merely a tactic to gain value. It becomes something much more profound. It becomes an act of reclaiming your shadow. It's an act of spiritual and psychological wholeness. It is you, finally, turning to the neglected parts of yourself and declaring, you matter. My time matters. My energy matters. My purpose matters. It is the beginning of true self-respect, rooted not in ego, but in the recognition of your own inherent endowed value. But let's be honest, confronting this shadow, even hearing it described like this, feels terrifying, doesn't it? The biggest fear for a kind-hearted person is that in embracing this power, they might become the very thing they've always tried to avoid, a monster, an arrogant, selfish, uncaring person. But it's not so. It's not about your bad side starting to control you. It's about how truly good character traits often go unnoticed. It feels like a betrayal of your own identity. So how in the world do you access this strength without letting it consume you? How do you use this fire without getting burned? Carl Jung gave us a very specific and wise answer for this exact dilemma. The goal is not to let the shadow run wild and take over. The goal is something else entirely, something much more skillful. You don't become your shadow, you integrate it. Think of it like a magnificent, powerful, wild horse. A person who fears the horse's power will either try to kill it or lock it away forever, losing its strength entirely. That's the people pleaser. An unwise person might let the horse run wild, where it will trample everything in its path, including the rider. That's the fear of becoming a monster. But the wise rider doesn't kill the horse and doesn't let it run wild. They learn to ride it. They build a relationship with it. They harness its power and direct it towards a noble destination. This is what it means to integrate your shadow. You acknowledge your capacity for anger, but you don't let it erupt into rage. Instead, you channel that energy into creating firm, clear, and non-negotiable boundaries. You acknowledge your ambition, but you don't let it become ruthless greed. Instead, you harness it to pursue a worthy purpose that serves both you and others. Integrating your shadow doesn't make you less good. It makes your goodness strong. It gives your nice and accommodating public self what Jung called the persona, the solid steel backbone it desperately needs to be truly effective in the world. It's the difference between a beautiful kite that lies limp on the ground and a kite that soars because it's tethered to a strong, steady hand. This integration is the deep, internal work. This is where the real transformation happens. But how does this inner shift translate into tangible, real-world action? Because this isn't about becoming rude or cold or suddenly ghosting people who rely on you. There is a graceful, respectful, and incredibly powerful way to begin this process. A method I call the art of strategic absence. So, what are the first 3 practical, actionable steps you can take this week to apply this art and see an immediate, tangible shift in the way people respond to you and value you? Part 4, the art of strategic absence. Not ghosting, but reclaiming. Okay, you've made the decision. You're ready to move from theory to reality. You've decided to reclaim your power, to integrate your shadow, and to stop being the 24/7 free coffee stand. But how exactly do you do it? The mind is willing, but the habits are strong. Here are the first 3 practical, powerful steps in what is called the art of strategic absence. None of these steps involve being rude, cruel, or a jerk. This is not about ghosting people or burning bridges. This is about gracefully and firmly reclaiming your own life. Step 1, introduce a response delay. In our hyper-connected world, we've been conditioned to believe that an instant response is a required courtesy. It is not. It's a habit that screams, "I have nothing more important to do than wait for your message." Starting today, give yourself permission to pause. You do not have to answer texts, emails, or direct messages instantly. A thoughtful pause, whether it's 30 minutes or a few hours, sends a powerful, nonverbal signal. I have a life that exists outside of this conversation, and I will respond when I am present and ready. This small act begins to reset others' expectations of your availability. But you must understand that the people who truly value, love, and respect you deserve that you respond to them immediately and instantly as before. They deserve this. Remember that. Step 2, schedule you time and guard it fiercely. Take out your calendar right now, your physical planner, or the one on your phone, and block out 2 or 3 one-hour slots for this week. Label them appointment with self, or focus time, or whatever you like. This time is for you, to think, to read, to walk, to pray, to do absolutely nothing. Now, here's the crucial part. You must treat these appointments with the same seriousness as a meeting with your boss or a doctor's visit. They are non-negotiable. When someone inevitably asks for that time, your answer is not a long apologetic story. It is a simple, polite, and firm, "Thank you for asking, but I'm not available then." But this does not apply to people who truly love and respect you. For them, you should be available. Remember that. And that leads directly to step 3. Say no, without a long justification. People pleasers feel that their no is not valid unless it's accompanied by a 5-page essay explaining why. They feel they owe everyone an excuse. You do not. A long, rambling justification is actually a sign of guilt. It's you trying to convince the other person and yourself that your no is legitimate. A powerful, respectful no is concise. "Thank you so much for the offer, but I won't be able to make it. I appreciate you thinking of me, but I'll have to pass this time." That is a full sentence. It is complete. It is enough. Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds so simple on paper. But the moment you try to implement any of this, the moment you pause before texting back, the moment you protect your scheduled time, the moment you say a simple no, you will likely feel an intense, overwhelming wave of guilt and fear. A knot will form in your stomach. Your mind will race with catastrophic thoughts. "They're going to be so angry with me. They're going to think I'm selfish. They're going to abandon me." Why is this internal reaction so visceral and powerful? And what is the one mental reframe that can dissolve this guilt almost instantly? I'm going to give you that reframe right now, and I want you to write it down. I want you to burn it into your mind, because it will fundamentally change how you view every no you say from this day forward. The reframe is this: every time I say no to something that isn't right for me, I am saying a powerful yes to my own well-being, my purpose, and to the people and projects I am truly called to serve. Read that again. You are not rejecting the other person. You are accepting yourself. You are not closing a door out of spite. You are guarding the gate to your own soul. You are choosing your mission over a distraction. This reframe transforms an act that feels like selfishness into an act of profound wisdom and responsible stewardship of the life you've been given. These 3 actions, the response delay, the guarded time, the concise no, are incredibly powerful. They are the practical application of the inner work we've discussed. But even these are just the branches of the tree. For the change to be permanent, for it to become effortless, it has to happen at the very root of your identity. Carl Jung taught that these external actions are ultimately useless unless they are driven by a profound internal transformation, a fundamental shift from the identity of a people pleaser to something much, much more powerful and whole. So, what is this new identity? And how does embracing it make setting healthy boundaries feel as natural and necessary as breathing? Part 5. From people pleaser to self-possessed. The inner transformation. We've talked about tactics, we've talked about psychology, but all of that is just trimming the branches of the tree. Now we go to the root. This is the moment everything changes. This is the core identity shift that makes setting boundaries feel not like a stressful, guilt-ridden chore, but as natural and necessary as breathing. It's the journey where you stop being a people pleaser and you become self-possessed. What does that even mean? It means you own yourself. Your emotional real estate belongs to you. Your peace of mind is not for sale, and it's not up for rent. Your sense of worth is not a stock that goes up and down with the market of other people's opinions. It is a deep, internal wellspring, fed by your core values, your guiding principles, your foundational beliefs. It is non-negotiable. Think about it. The people pleaser lives in a state of emotional homelessness. Their sense of safety, their feeling of being okay, is a fragile tent they pitch on someone else's land. They are constantly checking the weather of other people's moods, terrified of being kicked out. Are we good? Do you still like me? Is everything okay? It is a life of constant grinding anxiety. But a self-possessed person, they have a home, an inner fortress built on the bedrock of their own character and purpose. They can visit others, love them, serve them, connect deeply with them, but at the end of the day, they always come home, to themselves. This is the source of quiet strength. This is what allows you to say no with grace and yes with true power. But hold on. A voice inside you might be screaming, wait, I don't want to be a cold, isolated person. I don't want to stop caring about people. This is the most critical misunderstanding, and I need you to hear this clearly. This journey isn't about caring less. It's about caring better. It's about making a fundamental shift in the very engine of your motivation. And it comes down to this. Are you a thermometer or are you a thermostat? A thermometer is a people pleaser. It does one thing. It reacts. It enters a room and simply reflects the temperature that's already there. If the room is anxious, it becomes anxious. If the room is angry, it reflects anger. If the room demands something, it adjusts. It has no power of its own. It is a slave to its environment. Its entire existence is approval-seeking. But a thermostat is self-possessed. It doesn't just read the temperature in the room, it sets the temperature. It has an internal standard, a pre-decided value it is committed to. When a thermostat enters a room, it doesn't ask, what's the temperature here? It declares, this is the temperature we are creating. Its entire existence is contribution-oriented. It brings its own value, calmness in the middle of chaos, integrity in the face of pressure, warmth in a cold environment. Do you feel the power in that shift? You stop reacting to the world and start acting on the world from a place of deep inner truth. Your focus shifts from a needy, what can I get from you, to a powerful, what value am I here to bring? This profound evolution from a reactive thermometer to a standard-setting thermostat was what Carl Jung considered the ultimate goal of a meaningful life. He gave it a beautiful name, individuation. The sacred process of shedding the masks and finally becoming the person you were uniquely designed to be. But he also gave a chilling warning. He saw that most people never even begin this journey. They live and die as thermometers, constantly reacting, constantly pleasing. Why? Because they fall into one specific, deeply comfortable, and socially rewarded trap. What is that alluring trap, and how do you recognize it so you can make sure you don't spend the rest of your one precious life caught inside it? Part 6. Individuation. The secret to becoming invaluable to yourself. First, we stand at a crossroads. Down one path lies the comfortable trap that Carl Jung warned us about. A path so seductive, most people walk it their entire lives without even knowing they're trapped. What is it? It's the glittering golden cage of the collective persona. The persona is the mask you wear, and you have a closet full of them. The good employee mask, the perfect friend mask, the dutiful son or daughter mask, We all wear them to navigate the world. They're not evil, but the trap isn't wearing the mask. The trap is forgetting you're wearing it. The trap is when the mask fuses to your skin, and you no longer know where it ends and you begin. Your entire identity becomes the role you play for others, while the real you, the one underneath, is slowly suffocating. So what's the other path? It's the ultimate journey. Jung called it individuation. It's not a self-help trick. It's a courageous act of archaeology. It's the process of digging through the layers of who the world told you to be, so you can finally unearth the masterpiece you were designed to be. It's becoming an individual, a whole, indivisible person. And this single idea changes everything we've talked about. Suddenly, pulling back is no longer a strategy you use on others. It becomes a sacred necessity you do for yourself. You create space not to seem mysterious, but to finally hear your own voice above the noise of the crowd. You set boundaries not to push people away, but to protect the sacred ground where your soul is being cultivated. Your calling, your purpose, your growth, it demands your focus. You pull back from the world so you can finally show up for your own life. And here's the beautiful paradox. This is precisely why the world finds you invaluable. People are not drawn to your strategy. They are drawn to your substance. In a world of cheap copies, they are starved for something real. And they sense it in you. They feel the gravitational pull of a soul that is anchored in its own truth, not in the shifting sands of public opinion. You become invaluable to the world the moment you dare to become invaluable to your own purpose. But I can hear your heart asking the question. This path, it sounds so lonely. Doesn't becoming an individual mean becoming isolated? This is the great misunderstanding that keeps so many in their prisons. And the answer is the exact, stunning opposite of what you fear. Individuation does not lead to isolation. It leads to true connection. Think about it. A mask can only connect with another mask. A role can only connect with another role. It's functional, it's polite, but it's hollow. It's two ghosts shaking hands. It's the unspoken ache of being in a room full of people and feeling utterly alone, because the real you is in hiding. But when you do the work, when you have the raw courage to be real, you finally gain the ability to connect soul to soul. The shallow connections might fade away, yes, but they are replaced by bonds of such profound understanding and respect that they make all your previous relationships feel like shadows on a cave wall. So you begin. You take that first step. You start to listen. You reclaim a sliver of your time. You set one small, terrifying boundary, and just as you start to feel the sun on your real face, the storm clouds gather. The old world, the world that loved your mask, will try to pull you back. The patterns, the habits, the people who benefited from the selfless, boundaryless you, they will sound the alarm. Your old persona will fight for its life. This right here is the most dangerous moment of your entire journey. How do you possibly find the strength to resist the emotional tide pulling you back to your comfortable, soul-crushing prison? Part 7, The Temptation to Return. How to resist old patterns. You did it. You felt that spark of truth, and you found the courage. You said a quiet, simple, earth-shattering no to a request that drained you. For one glorious moment, you feel free. You can breathe. And then the call comes. It might be a text that lands like a stone in your gut, dripping with guilt. It might be a passive-aggressive comment about how you've changed, or a sudden 5-alarm crisis that, funny enough, only you can solve. This is it, the test. This is the great, powerful temptation to run right back to your prison cell, because at least it was familiar. And this temptation attacks on two fronts. You have to be ready for both. First, the attack from the outside. The system that was built on your endless yes pushes back. The people who were comfortable with your self-abandonment will try to pull you back into line. But as strong as that is, it's nothing compared to the war that erupts inside you. This is the voice of your own ingrained fear, your own bottomless well of guilt. It whispers directly into your soul. You're being cruel. You're letting them down. Look what you're doing to them. You're a bad person, a selfish person. Just give in. It's easier. Your heart is pounding. You feel like the most terrible human being on earth for simply trying to protect a tiny piece of your own life. So what do? When the walls are closing in, what is the anchor that holds you steady? What is the single thought that can part the storm clouds? It's a sentence, just 8 words. But these 8 words are the key to your freedom. Burn them into your mind. The sentence is this: their reaction is their responsibility, not mine. Now, listen carefully. This is not a license for selfishness. This is not a mantra for ignoring people who genuinely love and need you. This is a surgical tool for dealing with unhealthy dynamics and manipulative patterns. Your responsibility is to act with integrity, to be kind but firm. But you are not responsible for policing the emotions of someone who is upset that you will no longer enable their dysfunction or cater to their every whim. That unhealthy codependent cord must be cut. And here is the beautiful truth you must understand. The time and energy you reclaim by saying no to the things that drain you is not meant to be hoarded for yourself. It is a sacred resource you can now invest where it truly matters. Think about it. That hour you didn't spend on a draining phone call, you can now give it whole and undivided to your child, your spouse, or a friend who truly values you. That energy you didn't waste on an obligation you resented, you can now use it to create something beautiful, to work on a project that serves others, or simply to rest, so you can be a source of strength, not stress, to those you love. You are not choosing selfishness over service. You are choosing wise service over compulsive service. You are choosing to give your best self to the people who deserve it, instead of giving your leftovers to everyone who demands it. And when you do this, when you prove to yourself that you are a wise steward of your own life, something miraculous happens. The dynamic doesn't just change, it inverts. The entire energy field of your life begins to warp around your new, solid center. Instead of you, a frantic planet, desperately trying to stay in everyone else's orbit, they begin to feel the pull of your gravity. So, what does that new world actually look like? How does it feel to finally stop chasing and instead become the quiet, steady, life-giving center of your own universe? Part 8. The gravity of a centered soul. When they start coming to you. So what happens when you hold the line? When you choose integrity over ease? When you consistently choose your highest purpose over the endless noise of pleasing others? A quiet miracle unfolds. You develop what I can only describe as the gravity of a centered soul. This is the reward. This is the new world that awaits on the other side of your fear. The frantic, anxious buzz of constantly chasing approval, it just fades. And in its place comes a quiet, steady, magnetic hum. What does this feel like? It feels like stillness. Your words suddenly have weight. Your yes becomes 1,000 times more powerful because everyone knows your no is real. You become a lighthouse, not a lifeboat. You are no longer tossed around in their storms. You stand firm on your foundation, and your steady light helps them find their own way home. But as we paint this picture, a critical question arises. A vital distinction we must make. Who is this pulling back for? Does it apply to everyone? To your children, your spouse, your dearest friends who have always been there for you? Absolutely not. And this is the secret that separates healthy self-respect from cold selfishness. The model of strategic absence, of creating scarcity, is a diagnostic tool and a protective shield to be used in the wider world. With colleagues, acquaintances, and those relationships where you suspect the dynamic has become one-sided. It is not a wall to be built between you and those who have earned your trust and proven their love. For the people who truly love and value you, for your inner circle, you don't offer scarcity. You offer something far more precious, reliable presence. They have earned your availability. They deserve your open heart. The very reason you are reclaiming your energy from the draining dynamics outside is so you can pour it more generously into them. And here's how this works in practice. When you apply these principles of pulling back to the outer circles of your life, you will see a filtration happen. The people who were only there for your function, the users, the dependents, will become frustrated and fade away. Their departure is not a loss. It is a clarification. It is the necessary pruning that allows your garden to breathe. But what about the people in those outer circles who genuinely, quietly valued you? Something amazing will happen. They will step forward. They will respect your new boundaries and make a greater effort to connect. They will prove their worthiness to be invited closer into your life. So, you are not losing friends. You are discovering who your true friends are. You are losing an audience, but you are gaining a community. You are losing dependence, but you are strengthening your bonds with your loved ones. You are creating a clear, beautiful distinction between the public you and the private you, and you are fiercely protecting the time and energy you have for those who truly matter. The transformation we've explored is profound. It's the journey of a lifetime. But theory is just a map. It's action that moves your feet. A new life is not built on understanding alone. It's built on a single, intentional step. So, how do you start? Today, right now, in this moment. I'm about to give you a simple, concrete challenge that will be the first step on this new road. A key that will start the engine of your transformation. Are you ready to turn the key? Part 9, your first step, the 7-day pullback challenge. We have traveled a long way together in this video, from the pain of feeling invisible to the promise of becoming invaluable. But all of this, every idea, every insight, means nothing without one thing: action. Theory can inspire you, but only action will transform you. So right here, right now, I am inviting you to take your first step. I am inviting you to join me in the 7-day pullback challenge. This isn't about blowing up your life. This is a quiet revolution. It's a small, powerful experiment to prove to your own heart that a new way of living is possible. Think of it as a 1-week training camp for your soul. Day 1 and 2, the observation deck. Your mission is to practice a 1-hour pause on all non-urgent digital replies. But the real work isn't the waiting, it's the watching. Feel that twitch in your thumb to respond? The wave of guilt? The anxiety? Good. Don't fight it. Just observe it. You are simply watching the old programming run. You are gathering intelligence. Day 3 and 4, the kind no. You will find one small, low-stakes request you would normally say yes to, and you will say no. Not a cold no. A kind, firm, and simple no. Thank you for thinking of me, but that won't be possible. No long stories, no excuses. Your goal is to feel the weight of that word in your mouth, and then feel the lightness that comes when you realize the sky didn't fall. Day 5 and 6, the sacred appointment. You will schedule 2 1-hour appointments with yourself, and they are unbreakable. Put them in your calendar as meeting with CEO, because you are the CEO of your life. Read a book, go for a walk, sit in silence, pray. The activity doesn't matter. The principle does. You are teaching the world and yourself that your time for renewal is non-negotiable. And remember, apply this challenge wisely. This is your training ground for dealing with the outer circles of your life, not for building walls between you and your loved ones. Finally, Day 7, the debrief. On this day, you will reflect. Ask yourself, what was the hardest part? What did I learn about my own patterns? And what did I learn about others? Who respected my space? Who pushed back? This isn't about judgment. It's about clarity. You are finally seeing the map of your own life. This 7-day challenge is not about becoming distant. It is about coming home. Carl Jung said, the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. He was right. It's terrifying to step out from behind the mask, but it is the single most liberating act you will ever undertake. Because when you stop being unconditionally available to everyone, you finally become radically available for your true purpose. You become available for the people you are called to love and the mission you were designed to fulfill. And that is the moment you don't just seem invaluable to the world. It is the moment you finally feel in the very marrow of your bones, truly and unshakably invaluable to yourself. Thank you for walking this path with me. If you're ready to start, let me know in the comments which day of the challenge you're most excited or nervous to begin. Your journey starts now.